So there Maya Rodriguez was, 22 years old, covered in motor oil, and seriously questioning her life choices. Her ancient Toyota had decided to die spectacularly on Highway 93, somewhere between nowhere and absolutely nowhere. The kind of place where cell service goes to die and tumbleweeds have existential crises. She was elbow deep in the engine, muttering creative combinations of Spanish curse words, when the sky lit up like a discount fireworks show. Next thing she knew, she was standing in what looked like the galaxy's most pretentious courtroom, facing creatures that seemed designed by committee. And not a good committee. More like the kind that argues about font choices for 3 hours. "Behold," announced the lead creature, who looked like someone had crossed a praying mantis with a filing cabinet. This was Korth Mal, supreme arbiter of the Galactic Council, though Maya would later learn he was about as supreme as gas station sushi. "We have acquired a specimen of the species known as human." Behind him, a smaller creature that resembled a nervous hamster having an anxiety attack was frantically shuffling through papers. This was Bleat, Korth Mal's assistant, who had the perpetual expression of someone watching a slow-motion disaster. "Sir," Bleat squeaked, "perhaps we should reconsider this plan. The preliminary scans show some concerning data about human psychology and their tendency toward..." "Nonsense." Korth Mal waved a spindly appendage dismissively. "Look at it. It's tiny, soft, and has no natural weapons. It will provide excellent entertainment in the apex arena before its inevitable demise." Maya, still trying to process the fact that she'd apparently been abducted by aliens who seemed to have gotten their understanding of dramatic flair from bad soap operas, finally found her voice. "Okay, so let me get this straight. You kidnapped me from my broken-down car to throw me into some kind of gladiator arena, because you think I'll be fun to watch die?" "Precisely." Korth Mal beamed, apparently proud of his brilliant plan. "Well," Maya said, wiping her hands on her jeans, "this Tuesday just got interesting." Bleat's whiskers twitched nervously. "Sir, the psychological profile indicates humans have something called spite and a tendency to exceed expectations when challenged. Perhaps we should..." "Enough." Korth Mal's voice echoed through the chamber. "The apex arena on Vexthara awaits. Citizens of the galaxy will witness the futile struggle of this primitive creature against our most magnificent predators." The arena, as Korth Mal explained with the enthusiasm of someone describing their vacation slides, was a closed ecosystem containing the galaxy's most dangerous creatures. Think Australia, but bigger and with more things actively trying to kill you. It was the Council's idea of entertainment, watching various species get absolutely demolished by creatures that made Earth's worst nightmares look like house cats. The current inhabitants include Razor, the Vextheran Alpha, a creature of such ferocity that entire armies flee at the mention of his name. Korth Mal gestured dramatically. Thorns the Spike-Beast, whose very existence is pain incarnate. And Venom the Acid-Spitter, whose philosophical musings are only exceeded by his lethality. Maya nodded along. "Aha. And you think I'm going to what exactly? Provide them with a light snack? Entertainment value before consumption, yes." "Right." Maya cracked her knuckles, a sound that made several council members jump. "A quick question, though. Have any of you actually studied humans? Or did you just assume we were pushovers because we don't have claws?" Bleat's nervous twitching intensified. "Sir, the data suggests..." "The data is irrelevant," Korth Mal declared. "Physical prowess determines survival. This creature possesses neither fangs, claws, nor natural armor." Maya grinned, and something about that expression made Bleat drop his papers. "You know what, buddy? You're absolutely right. I don't have fangs or claws." She paused, her grin widening. "But I've got something way more dangerous." "And what might that be?" Korth Mal asked condescendingly. "I'm a human with a wrench, a bad attitude, and apparently nothing left to lose." Maya stretched her arms above her head, joints popping. "Plus, I've been dealing with broken machinery and impossible problems my whole life. At least these apex predators are honest about wanting to kill me." The transport beam activated, and Maya felt the familiar tingle of teleportation. As she began to dematerialize, she called out, "Thanks for the adventure, guys. This is going to be fun." The last thing she heard was Bleat muttering, "We're all going to die." Maya materialized in what could generously be described as a nightmare theme park. The Apex Arena stretched for miles in every direction, a carefully maintained ecosystem of death and destruction. Crystalline barriers formed a dome overhead, because apparently even galactic death matches needed good lighting. The landscape was a greatest hits collection of hostile environments. Poisonous swamps bubbled merrily next to razor-sharp crystal formations, while carnivorous plants swayed in toxic breezes. In the distance, what looked like a volcano was having a casual Tuesday eruption. "Well," Maya said, brushing teleporter residue off her coveralls, "I've seen worse. Ever been to Newark?" That's when she heard the growling. Not the cute kind dogs make when they want belly rubs. The kind that makes your prehistoric brain scream about hiding in caves and making fire. From behind a cluster of chrome-colored trees emerged Razor, the Vextheran Alpha. 8 feet of muscle, scales, and what Maya was pretty sure was concentrated anger management issues. He looked like someone had crossed a Komodo dragon with a bodybuilder, and then given the result severe emotional problems. "Oh," Razor rumbled, his voice like grinding stone, "what fresh torment is this?" From the toxic swamp squelched Thorns, who Maya had to admit was accurately named. He looked like a cactus had decided to become a personal trainer, all spikes and attitude. Every step he took left scorched footprints in the ground. "New meat," Thorns declared cheerfully. "I was getting bored of the usual screaming and running." And finally, oozing down from the crystalline cliffs with philosophical gravitas, came Venom. His acid-green hide glistened as he moved, and Maya was pretty sure those weren't decorative pools he was leaving behind. "Ah," Venom mused in a voice like cultured poison. "Another lost soul arrives in our domain of eternal struggle. Tell me, small creature, do you fear death? Or do you embrace it as the ultimate teacher?" The 3 apex predators formed a triangle around Maya, each representing enough concentrated lethality to level small cities. Any reasonable creature would have run screaming, or at least had the decency to faint. Maya looked around at her welcoming committee, hands on her hips. "Okay, so you're the neighborhood watch. Got it. I'm Maya, and before you ask, no, I'm not running." The predators exchanged confused looks. This was not standard prey behavior. "You're not running," Razor stated, like he was trying to solve advanced calculus. "Nope. Running's cardio and I hate cardio." Maya gestured around the arena. "Plus, where exactly would I run to? This place is what, 50 miles across and surrounded by force fields?" "But you should be afraid," Thorns protested. "We're apex predators. We're the things nightmares have nightmares about." "I'm sure you are, Spike Boy. Very intimidating." Maya started walking toward a relatively stable-looking area near some non-carnivorous rocks. "But here's the thing. I've spent the last 4 years keeping a 1998 Toyota Corolla running with duct tape and sheer spite. You want to scare me? Try dealing with a blown head gasket and a customer who insists the check engine light is just decoration." The predators followed her, now more curious than hungry. This was unprecedented. Usually new arrivals lasted about 30 seconds before becoming very messy statistics. "What are you doing?" Venom asked as Maya began collecting rocks and twisted metal debris. "Building shelter. See, unlike you guys, I don't have natural armor or toxic spit. I've got something better called planning ahead." She started stacking stones with practiced efficiency. "Also, has anyone ever told you 3 that your introductions need work? Very theatrical, sure, but low on practical information." "Practical information?" Razor's confusion was palpable. "Yeah, like what do you eat? What are your territorial boundaries? Who's in charge of waste management around here?" Maya paused in her construction. "Please tell me someone's handling waste management." The 3 apex predators, galactic legends of destruction and terror, stood in stunned silence. In thousands of years of arena combat, no one had ever asked about waste management. "I am beginning to suspect," Venom said slowly, that this small creature may not be entirely sane. Sanity's overrated, Maya called back, now weaving some flexible vines between her rocks. Functionality's where it's at. Speaking of which, you guys know what's edible around here? Because I'm guessing the Galactic Darwin Award Committee didn't pack me a lunch. And that's how Maya Rodriguez, human mechanic, started her first day in hell by giving her future subjects a crash course in practical problem solving. 3 days into her stay at Hotel Certain Death, Maya had already broken several fundamental laws of arena survival. First, she was still alive. Second, she was still uninjured. Third, and most disturbing to the watching Galactic Council, she was making friends. "This is highly irregular," Korthmal muttered, watching the live feed from his executive viewing chamber. She should have been consumed by now. On screen, Maya was doing something that looked suspiciously like exercise, jogging around the arena's perimeter while the 3 apex predators followed at a respectful distance. She'd been doing this every morning, and somehow had convinced them to join her. "It's called cardio, guys," Maya called over her shoulder. "Your stamina's great for short bursts, but what happens when you need sustained energy?" "We rest and then kill things," Razor panted, already winded despite his massive physical advantages. "See, that's thinking inside the box. What if you could kill things and have energy left over for more killing things?" Thorns, whose spikes were now drooping pathetically, managed to wheeze. "That would be efficient." Maya had quickly figured out that apex predators, for all their natural advantages, had some serious gaps in their knowledge base. They were ambush hunters, built for overwhelming force and intimidation. But humans were persistence hunters. They could jog mammoths to death. After their morning constitutional, Maya led them to her latest project. She'd been experimenting with the arena's plant life, testing which ones were edible, which ones were useful, and which ones would probably melt her face off. "Okay, so these purple berries?" She held up a cluster that glowed faintly. "Super high in nutrients, taste like someone crossed a strawberry with rocket fuel, and they make you feel amazing. But you guys probably just ate whatever wandered into your territory, right?" Venom nodded. "The hunt provides what the hunt provides." "Right, but what if the hunt could provide better?" Maya had been working on what she privately called Operation Positive Reinforcement. Every time one of the predators did something helpful or showed restraint, they got treats. The berries were like arena candy, and her 3 roommates were developing serious addictions. "Well, observe," she said, tossing a berry to Razor. "You helped me move those heavy rocks yesterday. Good teamwork gets rewards." Razor caught the berry and his massive tail actually wagged slightly. Maya pretended not to notice. Apex predators had their dignity. The real breakthrough had come 2 days earlier when Razor had gotten a massive thorn embedded in his front claw. Maya had watched him struggle with it for hours, his pride preventing him from asking for help. Finally, she'd approached with her multi-tool. "Hey, big guy, want me to get that for you?" The look of suspicious gratitude that had crossed his massive features was something Maya would remember forever. Since then, Razor had appointed himself her unofficial bodyguard, which was both touching and completely unnecessary given that the other 2 were also growing protective of their tiny human. "Maya," Thorns said, interrupting her thoughts, "the council creatures are making agitated noises again." She looked up at the observation deck, where Korthmal was indeed making agitated noises while Bleat frantically took notes. "Yeah, I figured they would be. I'm not dying fast enough for their entertainment schedule." Maya grinned and waved at the cameras. "Hey there, guys. Hope you're enjoying the show." In the council chamber, Korthmal was having what could diplomatically be called a complete meltdown. This was supposed to be simple. Primitive creature meets apex predators. Apex predators consume primitive creature. Galaxy enjoys bloodsport. "Sir," Bleat said carefully, "viewership is actually up 300%. The betting pools have shifted from how long will she survive to what will she accomplish next. There's apparently a very popular wager on whether she'll teach them to read." Teach them to read. Back in the arena, Maya was indeed attempting basic literacy lessons using scratches in the dirt. Venom was showing particular aptitude, which made sense given his philosophical tendencies. See, this symbol means food, this one means danger, and this one means Maya's stuff, do not touch or face consequences. What sort of consequences? Razor asked, genuinely curious. Maya's smile was pure sweetness with an undertone of mechanical expertise. The kind that involved me being very disappointed in you. Trust me, you don't want that. All three predators shuddered. They'd learned that Maya's disappointment was somehow worse than her anger. And in the council chamber, Bleat made another note. Subject appears to have weaponized human emotional manipulation. Recommend immediate extraction team. Korthmal ignored him. He was too busy watching his entertainment turn into something far more dangerous, an education. Week 2 of Maya's residency at Predator Paradise brought some unexpected developments. Mainly, she'd accidentally created the galaxy's most lethal municipal government. Okay, everyone settle down, Maya called, standing on a makeshift platform built from arena debris. Before her sat not just her original 3 roommates, but a growing collection of creatures that the council had apparently been dumping into the arena for years. There was Buzz, a massive insect creature with wings that sounded like helicopter blades and an unfortunate tendency toward anxiety. Granite, a rock-based entity who communicated through seismic vibrations and had strong opinions about mineral rights. And Chrome, a shape-shifting metallic being who'd apparently been thrown in for aggressive pacifism, whatever that meant. First order of business, Maya continued, consulting notes written on a piece of flattened metal, waste management. Chrome, you volunteered to handle recycling, which is great because you literally eat metal scraps. Chrome rippled in what Maya had learned was their version of pleasure. Finally, someone appreciates my dietary choices. Second, we need to talk about territorial disputes. Granite, you can't just create fault lines every time someone steps on your mineral garden. We've discussed this. The ground trembled apologetically. Third, and this is important, we need to establish some kind of entertainment that doesn't involve anyone getting eaten. Buzz, how's that obstacle course coming along? Buzz's wings vibrated excitedly. Oh, Maya, it's wonderful. I've created a series of challenges that test speed, agility, and problem-solving. Razor set the current record. Razor preened. He'd never been good at anything other than violence before, and discovering he had a talent for parkour had done wonders for his self-esteem. In the council observation deck, Korthmal was watching this display with the expression of someone who'd ordered a hamburger and received a nuclear reactor instead. She's created a civilization, he whispered. Yes, sir, Bleat confirmed, making notes. A surprisingly efficient one. Crime is down 98%, productivity is up 400%, and they've somehow established a functioning economy based on berry trading and skill exchanges. But they're supposed to be killing each other. Well, sir, technically they still are. It's just more organized now. Maya instituted something called competitive sports and conflict resolution protocols. Violence is channeled into structured activities with rules and referees. On screen, Maya was mediating a dispute between Thorns and a newcomer called Slash, a creature that looked like someone had given a tornado sharp edges and anger management problems. Okay, Slash, I understand you're frustrated about the territorial boundaries. But creating random wind storms isn't the solution. How about we set up a designated area where you can practice your weather manipulation, and in exchange you help with our ventilation system? Slash's winds calmed slightly. You would trust me with such responsibility? Everyone gets a job that matches their skills. That's how societies work. Maya turned to Thorns. And you, Spike Boy, stop intimidating the newcomers. Your job is community defense, not community terrorizing. Thorns looked sheepish, which was impressive for a walking cactus. I was merely establishing dominance hierarchies. We don't do dominance hierarchies here. We do collaborative leadership structures. Maya's voice carried the patient tone of someone who'd explained this concept many times. Everyone contributes according to their abilities. Everyone benefits according to their needs. Venom, who'd been quietly observing, spoke up. Maya, your social philosophy is fascinating. You've essentially created a hybrid between anarcho-socialism and benevolent dictatorship. I've created a place where nobody has to sleep with one eye open, Maya corrected. Everything else is just details. The real crisis came when the council tried to spice things up by dropping in a new predator. Unfortunately for their ratings, they chose poorly. The creature they selected was Fang, a supposedly unstoppable killing machine that looked like a saber-toothed tiger had mated with a chainsaw. Fang lasted exactly 4 minutes in the arena before Maya's self-appointed defense committee surrounded him. New guy. Razor called cheerfully. Welcome to the neighborhood. Maya's got some orientation materials for you. I don't need orientation, Fang snarled. I need prey. Well, that's unfortunate, Thorns said conversationally, because we don't do that here anymore. What we do have, Buzz added helpfully, is a really excellent recreational program in comprehensive health care. Fang looked around at the circle of apex predators, all of whom were looking at him with the patient expression of kindergarten teachers dealing with a disruptive child. This is not how apex predator arenas are supposed to work, he said weakly. No, Maya agreed, walking up with a berry cluster and what looked suspiciously like a job application. It's how they're supposed to work better. Within 6 hours, Fang was enrolled in anger management classes and had volunteered for perimeter security. Korthmal put his head in his hands. She's domesticated the apex predators. Technically, sir, I think she's socialized them. Same difference. The breaking point came during week 3, when the Galactic Council decided Maya's little social experiment had gone on long enough. Korthmal, in a moment of what he probably thought was brilliant strategic thinking, decided to reset the arena by sending in a military strike team. If we can't have entertainment, he declared, we'll at least have closure. Eliminate the human and her pet monsters, repopulate with fresh predators, and pretend this never happened. Maya was in the middle of mediating a dispute between Chrome and Granite about mineral extraction rights when every alarm system in the arena started screaming. The crystalline dome above flickered, and transport beams began depositing armed soldiers around the perimeter. Well, Maya said, watching squads of heavily armed council troops materialize, that's disappointing. The soldiers were professional military, equipped with energy weapons, combat armor, and the kind of training that made them dangerous to anything that walked, crawled, or flew. They were also, unfortunately for them, about to learn why humans had conquered their own planet despite being squishy and relatively defenseless. Maya, Razor growled, his scales already shifting to combat configuration, these creatures smell of violence. They smell of poor life choices, Maya corrected, but her voice had gone flat and cold. Everyone, defensive positions. Protect the non-combatants. The transformation was instant and terrifying. Maya's carefully constructed society didn't fall apart under pressure. It weaponized itself. Buzz took to the air for reconnaissance. Chrome shifted into mobile armor, and Granite began reshaping the battlefield to their advantage. But it was Maya herself who became truly frightening. You know what, guys? She called to the advancing soldiers, her voice carrying across the arena with unnatural calm. I was having a good day. We all were. We'd built something nice here. Something peaceful. The lead soldier, a professional who'd seen combat on a dozen worlds, felt something cold crawl up his spine at her tone. But you couldn't leave well enough alone, could you? Maya continued, and now she was walking toward them, flanked by creatures that could level cities. You had to come mess with my family. The soldier raised his weapon. Surrender now and your death will be quick. Maya stopped walking. My death? She turned to look at her friends, her community, her chosen family of reformed apex predators. Did this guy just threaten to kill me in front of you? The response was immediate and unanimous. Every creature in the arena, from the smallest insectoid to the massive Granite, turned their attention to the military strike team. The temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. That, Venom said conversationally, was tactically inadvisable. What followed wasn't really a battle. It was a demonstration of why apex predators were called apex predators, and why humans were the species that had tamed them. Maya didn't fight directly. She didn't need to. Instead, she stood in the center of the arena and directed her friends with the calm efficiency of someone conducting an orchestra. Every movement was coordinated, every attack strategic, every defense perfectly timed. Buzz, harassment pattern 7. Chrome, mobile shield for the non-combatants. Granite, reshape sector 4 to create choke points. The soldiers found themselves facing an enemy they'd never trained for, organized apex predators with tactical leadership. Their weapons were useless against creatures that could dodge faster than light or absorb energy blasts as snacks. Their armor meant nothing to beings that could phase through matter or generate localized earthquakes. But the truly terrifying part was Maya herself. She stood untouched in the center of chaos, calling out instructions, and every creature in the arena obeyed without question. Not out of fear, but out of loyalty. Out of love. Out of love. Phase 2, Maya called out. Non-lethal takedowns only. We're better than they are. In the council chamber, Korthmal watched his elite military unit get systematically dismantled by what he dismissed as entertainment. How is this possible? Sir, Bleat said quietly, I tried to warn you. The human psychological profile indicated extreme pack bonding tendencies and tactical thinking capabilities. Also spite. Lots of spite. But she's just one small creature. One small creature who united the galaxy's most dangerous predators under a single banner, Bleat pointed out. I believe the humans have a saying about this situation, which is, don't poke the bear, sir. Especially when the bear has friends. On screen, the last soldier was being gently but firmly restrained by Thorns while Maya approached with what looked like a first aid kit. Welcome to the arena, she told the defeated soldier pleasantly. We have orientation materials and an excellent recreational program. Also, your employers just made a very serious mistake. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't just bond with their own species. The aftermath of what historians would later call the arena incident moved quickly. Within hours, footage of Maya's perfectly orchestrated defense had spread across the galactic network. Within days, every major civilization was asking the same questions: who were these humans, and why hadn't anyone properly introduced themselves? The immediate crisis, however, was sitting in Maya's newly constructed meeting hall, facing down the emergency diplomatic delegation that the Council had hastily assembled after their military solution failed spectacularly. Let me understand this correctly, Maya said, leaning back in a chair that Granite had helpfully formed from compressed minerals. You kidnapped me, threw me into a death arena for entertainment, sent soldiers to kill me when I didn't die fast enough, and now you want to negotiate? Korthmal, looking significantly less pompous than usual, nodded miserably. That is an accurate summary, yes. And your opening offer is that you'll let me leave quietly if I promise not to tell anyone about this? We had hoped. No. No. The simple word hung in the air like a blade. Around the meeting hall, Maya's friends and family arranged themselves in what anyone with basic survival instincts would recognize as defensive positions. Razor's low growl provided an ominous soundtrack. No, Korthmal squeaked. You see, here's the thing about humans, Maya continued conversationally. We're really, really good at holding grudges. And you didn't just mess with me. You've been throwing sentient beings into this arena for years, treating them like animals for your entertainment. She stood up, and every predator in the room shifted slightly forward. So here's what's going to happen instead. First, the arena is now an independent nation. I'm claiming sovereignty over this territory and all its inhabitants. You can't just. Second, Maya continued without pause, every creature you've dumped here over the years is now a citizen of this new nation, with full rights and protections. But they're dangerous. Third, you're going to formally recognize our independence and establish proper diplomatic relations. The Council will never. Fourth, and now Maya's voice took on the tone that her friends had learned meant business. You're going to help us contact Earth and arrange for proper first contact protocols between humanity and the galactic community. Elite, who'd been frantically taking notes, looked up. And if we refuse? Maya gestured to the viewport, where the arena stretched into the distance. Well, you've seen what we can accomplish when we work together. But here's what you probably haven't considered. I'm not the only human out there. The delegation exchanged nervous glances. There are about 8 billion of us on Earth, Maya continued pleasantly. And if you think I'm problematic, wait until you meet my cousin Rosa. She runs a food truck and has opinions about customer service. The negotiations took 3 days, mostly because the council kept trying to find loopholes and Maya kept explaining why those wouldn't work. In the end, they signed the Treaty of Vex Thara, establishing the arena as an independent nation under Maya's leadership. 6 months later, Maya stood on her balcony overlooking the transformed arena. Where once there had been chaotic wilderness, now there were organized districts, carefully planned agriculture, and what Buzz proudly called the galaxy's most challenging recreational facilities. Queen Maya, Venom said, approaching with the day's reports. We talked about this, Maya sighed. I'm not a queen. I'm a coordinator. You have absolute authority over a sovereign nation populated by the galaxy's most dangerous creatures who obey your every command out of love and respect, Venom pointed out. That's a queen. I just want to go home and fix cars, Maya muttered. Not that, Razor said, bounding up with his usual enthusiasm. The human delegation arrives tomorrow for the formal first contact ceremony. Maya perked up. Earth had finally responded to the galactic community's cautious overtures by sending a diplomatic mission to meet their amazing daughter, who accidentally conquered an alien death arena. Her parents were probably going to have words with her about not calling home. Think they'll be impressed? She asked. Maya, Chrome said. Flowing up the stairs in their liquid metal form, you united apex predators, established an interspecies democracy, and forced the Galactic Council to rewrite their constitution. Also, Thorns finally learned to read, and Granite published a poetry collection. The poetry was very moving, Buzz added helpfully. Maya grinned. You know what? I think I'm ready to go home. But first, she looked around at her chosen family, her impossible friends, her citizens who'd followed her from entertainment to revolution. We should probably work out visitation schedules. Earth's going to love you guys. In the distance, a ship entered the arena's airspace, carrying the first official human delegation to the galactic community. They were about to discover that their advanced scout had already established humanity's reputation quite thoroughly. As Razor liked to say, don't mess with the pack leader's family. The galaxy was still learning that lesson,